Ratchet and Clank, a game about feeding your persona large sums of bolts so you can buy cool weapons with said bolts, and save your galaxy and homeworld from a maniacal eco-fascist. Let's not forget about that part. Nowadays, these older games on the PS2 are a bit too easy to blast through, regardless of the mistakes you make and the plethora of movement tricks and speedrun skips. So I've started a self-enforced rule set where anytime Ratchet and or Clank dies, I have to instantly start the game from the very beginning with no bolts or weapons or anything at all, while sticking to what has been dubbed the casual percent, meaning I play the game for the most part as intended, barring Poketaro water ride. Also, since Ratchet and Clank is more of a branching path platformer, all I need to do is finish the game by collecting every infobot and blow up Drek's planet at the end. No need for optionals like the Map-O-Matic or the Gold Bolts since I won't be doing New Game Plus. Also, there are two races, one on Rilgar and one on Kalibo 3. I decided that falling off of the board or into the water doesn't count as dying because it doesn't force restart the race like another game I know and love. Instead, it just respawns you like Mario Kart. However, if I do not finish the race in first place on the first try, this does count as a reset, which you will see later on. This rule might vary in future titles of Ratchet and Clank, in which I'll inform you of any rule changes. With all that out of the way, we aren't just beating Ratchet and Clank. This is Ratchet and Clank, Deathless. I began my journey on August 29th, 2021 at 1:17 PM. Starting off with Velden 1, this is definitely the quickest part of every run. Clank is crash landed on Ratchet's homeworld and the small town mechanic boy goes to investigate. It's a pretty straight shot there as you beat up frogs and robots. We rescue Clank and bring him back to our shop, in which he allows us to leave Velden and begin our real journey.
So that's where I've been stuck this whole time.
Please return your appendages to the steering mechanism.
On my first attempt, I made it about as far as Rilgar, where that racing thing I talked about before it comes up. There was a moment where I smacked face first into a platform on the second lap, and then a fellow racer stun-locked my animation by hitting the nearby bomb boxes, which costed me even more time. I got sent all the way back to third place with no boost in sight, and I dropped even further into fourth place, and ended up missing first place by a good 7 seconds and ending the first run. In run 2, I spent about double the time. I was all the way on planet Altanis this time. Even though I had already collected the infobot for the next area, I only needed a couple thousand more bolts to get the Tesla Claw, which would be a crucial item for fighting Drek at the end for the boss. Altanis is one of the harder planets for me because on its path there are limited health packs, a lot of enemies in big groups, and ships that need the Devastator to get rid of. This time I took a few early hits from this tiny boy, and then this electrical line attack, and then this bomb I didn't see at all. Luckily, I got a bit of health back and finished the rest of this planet's path.
Hey, welcome to my shop! What can I get you?
After buying the infobot, I realized I was 3k bolts short from the Tesla Claw. So I took the taxi downtown, to which I would meet my demise later in the level, to security turrets after accidentally triggering the alarm with too much ankle. I got hit immediately, which instead of getting something like the bomb glove, I panicked and ran to a spot that I thought was safe. I jumped over a couple of lines and went for a bold approach, in which me firing a blaster got me struck again. On the last bit of health, in an embarrassing Hail Mary to avoid the turrets, I ran right into one and ended the 4.5 hour run. Attempt 3 was quite the special run. I was intent on hitting the casual percent speedrun world record and blazing through every planet after my embarrassment on Altanis. I cleared Velden 1 and Novalis in about 15 minutes. This time I opted to buy less weapons in my overall playthrough, so by the time I reached Altanis I would have a Tesla Claw ready to go. On to Kirwan, I did purchase the blaster though, because it's crucial for shooting blargs and blarg ships.
Hi there, Fuzzball.
Kerwan was complete in another 12 minutes. On Iridia of Attempt 3, I actually made the choice to buy the Pyrocitor, which I would opt to not do in later runs.
Hi there, Fuzzball.
And just like that, Iridia was done in about 11 minutes. Now, Eudora is a bit of a forgotten planet, but I think it's a nice boy. I opted to not buy any weapons here in the beginning, just because the blaster and the Pyrocitor were all I really needed. I did end up finishing Eudora in a little under 20 minutes, and I got the Suckkin at the end, but I made the mistake of not actually utilizing its full potential like I will in later attempts. And like a fool, I bought the Glove of Doom thinking I would need it for the boss fight in. Again, didn't buy any weapons here, so nothing crazy happened. I'm gonna move on pretty quickly. And less than 20 minutes later, I was on to Blackwater City. This time I was way over prepared for the race, and I got through a full 7 seconds faster than the first time. About 25 minutes later, I went to Quark's HQ for a death quartz and another obstacle, still saving my bolts for that good old Tesla claw for later. About 15 minutes later, I smacked up the Snagglebeast because this dumbass doesn't know not to keep walking on the bridges with the weight limit. And I was awarded with the Infobot too. Here I buy the Devastator, easily the best gun in the game. It'll help me clear out the area to the fortress for one Infobot and do the grind rail for another. Before we can continue on in the fortress, we need Magna Boots. And while I did end up doing this part for run 3, you don't actually have to do it in order to beat the game. So in the later runs I opted to not go for it. After about 10 minutes, I got my Infobots and started off the gas bar to grab the pilot's helmet to get to use it later on Pokitaru. And about 7 minutes later, I was on my way to Orxon to get Magna Boots and an Infobot. Since Orxon has been polluted so bad it starts to look like my room, only Clank can explore this part in the beginning phase. I got the Magna Boots, and then I moved on to the last Clank section to get the Pokitaru Infobot. And then I took myself to Pokitaru, to which I struggled a few times trying to get across the water with the resort owner. However, after leaving the planet a few times, coming back, I got past the water skiffs and used the pilot's helmet from Gaspar and newly acquired thruster pack to destroy the Drek fleet. After I exploded the big balls in the sky, I cleaned up the sewers in the area so I can come back later to get the Persuader, which is needed to reduce the cost of the Tesla Claw. And 20 minutes later, I then took my newly acquired O2 mask to Orxon. Firstly on Orxon, I grabbed Premium Nanotech, to tank one extra hit while playing, since it only costs a weak 4k. And then I had to go for the harder route to grab the info buff. Here there's death pits, crabby stabbies, yelly bellies, and flying freaks. I have to carefully tiptoe my way around, or take out enemies from a distance without getting caught in a bad spot. After a grand 15 minutes, I got my info bot that takes us to planet Hoven. First up on Hoven, I went and got the Raritanium from the Miner's Drill. This platforming part can be a little nerve-wracking with the slippy and the slidey. Also, not being used to the thruster pack double jump can throw anyone off, but I never died to it. Then I did the Hydro Displacer section to unlock the Hydro pack for some later swimming parts.
Hey, buddy, what you... They are...
And then finally making my way all the way up to the turret where I shot down a ton of Vargs and Drek's bomb ship, and that gives us the infobot for the next space station. In about 20 minutes, after pulling the Persuader from the Pokitaru sewers, we were on our way over to Gremlik base. Gremlik isn't the hardest mission in the list, but it definitely isn't the easiest. With some nasty death pits and easy ways to get caught off guard, if you don't know what you're doing, the turrets and the jet fighters can be a tough one. As well as the room you drop in from the Magna Boots can cost you some hits. But in about 20 minutes of fighting in space and destroying Quark's dog ass, we took a faster ship to check out the wreckage down on Autonomous.
Oh, boy. Yes! Quark is history.
By this point, I was sitting on about 34k bolts, which is the perfect amount to have to buy the next infobot and the Tesla Pole. So in about 5 minutes and coming real close to death a few times, I sped out of Ultanis and onto Core 2. Here I did the quick swimming section for the Bolt Grabber, and a giant clank section for the next infobot that leads to Kalibo 3.
Well done! Now just step in new.
If I can get that.
Kalibo isn't a very crazy planet, but we do get a couple of new enemy types like the Blarg Mercenary and the dropships. But with the Tesla Claw, the Devastator, nothing stands a chance. Then I get to the race where I rely on my Zoom Raider to keep me in the lead, which nets me the Holo Guys to go back to Core 2 and clear out the weapons factory that gives us the infobot to Drek's fleet. Once more, we take on the Holo Guys, and blocked by heavy spaceship turrets part of the way through, and after destroying them, we finally break into the bridge and get the final infobot for Velden 2. Velden 2 is essentially Velden 1, but longer. And if anyone has been keeping track of time, we're landing here at about 20 minutes shy of a 5-hour run, and Rack 1 is throwing everything we learned from the rest of the game all at us at once. After running low on ammo a few times and sniping a ton of enemies with the Visibomb and Devastator, I finally made it to Drek's mech, in which I engaged with Giant Clank. Then the nerves really started to hit as I filled up on ammo. With only 2k bolts in the bank and 5 out of 5 nanotechs, I took on Drek. First phase was a clean sweep with the blast. Second phase was another wash with a Tesla Claw. And third and final phase was a big hitter. He had so much health left I wasn't sure I'd have enough ammo to bang it out. And I was right. I used my remaining Devastator and got him down to about a third. I reset the timer a few times and got damage in with the Tesla Claw, and I got Drek down to a tiny chunk of health. And then I noticed him floating a little different than before. Now he was so far outside the map, the Tesla Claw wouldn't reach in the ways that I tried it. I also didn't recognize the attack pattern until he actually started shooting. Drek hit me with one sick shot when I was trying to get close with the blaster, and then another when I thought it would only take him longer to charge it. But that's when I kind of start to panic because I don't want to lose so late in the game, but then I don't know what to do because I can't actually hit him. After a bit of back and forth, he triggers the fail condition on the deplanetizer, and I have to go deactivate it during his swarm of missiles, in which one of them hits me on the way down. I get a tiny bit more damage with the Tesla Claw, but I realize I have no shot because of how little time is left on the thruster pack slam, and I have 1 HP left. I'm running low on claw ammo to fight the minis and Drek himself. While trying to dodge a wave of attacks, missiles, power bombs, I accidentally got snake eyes before I could come up with a good strat to beat him. And I costed a 5-hour run, just like that.
What a fucking liar, dude. What
You look so sad right now.
Weasley little
Don't I? I look so
liar,
sad.
dude. What a fucking...
But while I was done for the day, I wasn't done forever. And for strat changes, I realized I would have to go for the Rhino if I wanted to easily beat Drek and not get caught up in the same bad situation. So I took to YouTube, I looked up a bolt farm on Core 2, and got started once more. While my nanotech was broken, my spirit was not, until I got to Umbrus on attempt 4 and drowned in the mud after a shitty swing shot. And then, on attempt 5, Clank got sucked into a pit on Orxon.
I remember when I lost my mind.
Attempt 6, I actually played live on stream over at twitch.tv/moonzoutTV, where we got to watch me go through the entire game in 2 separate sittings that equated to about 7.5 hours. 2.5 hours of which was spent farming from 9k bolts up to the 150k for the Rhino. Fortunately, we had some YouTube videos and chat to keep ourselves entertained as I farmed up. Then, after the Core 2 farm, I actually almost costed the entire run on Kalibo 3 race, but I got a huge Devastator shot that clapped the bot in first place and I finished slower than my last time, but first place is all that matters here. I was so fucking nervous, bro. Oh, my. Like, if that Devastator didn't kill that guy at the end, I think I would have lost. But yeah, I've made it to the boss. Once that race was over, it pretty much sealed the deal. Drek was in the bag for us. After some Hologuise sections and a Jet Fighter section, and most of Velden 2, we finally made it back to the Drek fight. And when I did get to Drek, he got wiped pretty fast, just as I thought he would. I shredded him way faster than before for obvious reasons. After we blew up Drek in his crafted world, we celebrated by watching Ratchet's best cutscene ever, and then off stream I ate some good ass ice cream. Fuck the loser. Let's fucking go, boys! One more segment left.
This can't be good.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. It took quite a lot of editing power, man hours, free time from school, and life to do this. And it would be extremely appreciated if you drop some support in the comments by liking and subscribing if you made it this far. I'm also going to be playing Rack 2, other sequel games, Jack and Daxter games, and Sly Cooper all deathless on stream one of these days, and you don't want to miss those. Links in the description. Thanks y'all. See y'all in the next one.